there's no comparison. It is apples to oranges different from the real world out there of nursing homes.
There's an air of love. There's an air of caring.
When you come in the morning, it smells like bacon and waffles.
They're happy here. It's prayerful here. It's peaceful here. It's calm.
The sisters add an element that no other home could have.
We as Little Sisters consecrate our whole life to God in caring for the elderly poor. And it is in the gift of ourselves that we receive so much joy.
I'm just a farm girl from back in Indiana, but it's good to be here and have them take care of me right now.
If I were to choose any other place in the world, there wouldn't be any other place. I would want to come right back here.
There's no other place like Mullen Home.
The year was 1917. A congregation of the Little Sisters of the Poor arrived in Denver, Colorado. Their mission, to provide care and hospitality for the elderly poor. 1 year earlier, ground had already been broken on what was to be their future home, the Mullen Home, named for J.K. Mullen and his wife Catherine, prominent Denver citizens who provided financial support for the home as a lasting memorial for the benefit of the aged. This 4-story complex, when completed, would reside on 10 acres in North Denver and would have the capability of housing up to 150 elderly men and women. 95 years and many more residents later, Mullen Home continues its mission, offering the neediest of every race and religion care, compassion, and a place to live. Accommodations range from independent apartment living to nursing home care, and all are under the loving direction of the Order of Sisters, known as the Little Sisters of the Poor.
The mission of the Little Sisters of the Poor is the mission of humble service to the elderly who cannot care for themselves.
Founded in France in 1839, the Little Sisters of the Poor strive to follow the mission and philosophy of their foundress, Saint Jeanne Jugan.
Jeanne Jugan was born in Cancale, Brittany, France in 1792. And her father was a fisherman. When she was 4 years old, he was lost at sea.
And without her father to provide for her 4 brothers and sisters, as a teenager, Jeanne was put into service to help support her family.
She worked for a rich family. She would help the poor that knocked at the door of the family, and she was able to gain a lot of experience, which would later on help her form the congregation.
As a young adult, Jeanne became a nurse at a local hospital, and on her own would continue to give aid to the poor and unfortunate in the community. At 47 years old, she would encounter an elderly homeless woman who would forever change the path of her life.
One winter in 1839, she found this poor blind paralytic woman, and she carried her literally through the streets of France and placed her in her own bed. And this was the initial spark of the congregation.
Jeanne Jugan would continue to take in the elderly poor and expand her new community. And for the next 4 decades, this would become her life's mission. Her new family would be called the Little Sisters of the Poor. Today, that family is continuing St. Jeanne Jugan's mission all over the world, with homes on every continent and 31 homes in the United States, including Denver's Mullen Home.
The legacy of our mother foundress, St. Jeanne Jugan, is that beautiful family spirit.
I have no idea where I would have gone, because I don't have enough relatives to have anybody who would be willing to take in an old auntie or an old woman that would really require care.
Sometimes our residents, they have no family, and we are their family.
When you get to be 97, who is there surviving if you didn't get married and didn't have any children to survive you? And that's my situation.
They at times come very diminished, but once they come into the home, oh my goodness, they have a new life.
You know what I mean? Oh! Okay, that's 3.
They take care of everybody. Everybody seems to be really happy in their own way.
People say to me, how can you spend so much time down there? I said, it is a fun place. Because the sisters take a vow of hospitality, there's always a party. There's always an outing. There's always something going on.
They go to the zoo, they go to the aquarium. There's never a dull moment around this house.
Some people, when you say nursing home, they think that you're there and in a room and you never leave your room. And sometimes the residents, they may say, oh gee, I don't feel good this morning. But once the party is on at 2:30, they're raring to go.
Hey, with my monkeys, people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down.
Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are.
Teaching has been my life. I started out at 18 and finished at 70. I loved it. And then since I came here, I have had many opportunities where they have groups coming in and I talk to them. We have a little lesson for a half hour or for an hour.
Ideas pop into her head. She acts as if by angels led.
They've lived so long that they have a richness of gifts that they are able to give to others.
I found out that I'm able to write a little poetry, which truthfully I didn't know before.
But understanding and life elsewhere.
I maybe wrote a little here and there, but I never took it seriously. But here they want me to write it, so I have to sit down and make the thing come out.
So what is it that makes the Mullen home so special?
It is clean, it is wonderful, it's beautiful scented, it's not a nursing home.
When I came, I decided it's pretty nice that I would like to live here.
The atmosphere is very family-like, and the decor is just so lovely, but it's not that we have spent thousands of dollars on it. It's because our benefactors and our friends help contribute to making our home as livable and lovely as possible.
With the support of the community, we're able to provide many services that we would not be able to provide for our residents.
In the early years, Jeanne Jugan would walk the roads of France seeking donations for the elderly poor she cared for. Today, this tradition is carried on by the sisters. Known for their begging van, the Little Sisters of the Poor offset their operating expenses by collecting donations from the generosity of local markets and businesses in the community.
Yeah, we'll ask for some watermelon because
some watermelons.
They really like that.
Yeah, and if he has them, he'll give them to us.
Great. How many years have the sisters been coming here? Must be a long time.
Oh, the sisters have been coming ever since I had hair.
Divine Providence is very, very good. The kitchen is always grateful. There's various companies that will give us meat and bread and vegetables.
It's a sin for food to go to waste.
I mainly go to warehouses where packages or cases were damaged by forklifts.
You better put your choppers in, sister. We got corn.
It's beautiful corn.
They're such a nice group, and they're always very polite. Just really nice people to have in here.
Thank you so much. Every week she prepares a special, extra big ones for the sisters.
And we enjoy their visit every Tuesday.
Well, we gotta go.
God bless you. I love
God bless you. Love you too. We're so grateful for all your donations 52 times a year.
They do the Lord's work and we just make sausage, so hopefully it'll help everybody.
The Little Sisters are not just touching the elderly, they're touching all the people who come in contact with them, the families, the friends, the benefactors. It's just such a big web that they put out, that they touch and they give and they get back.
I tell all my friends, sell everything and get on the list, get on the waiting list at Little Sisters, because hopefully they'll leave the lights on for us that long and take care of us someday when we're in our senior years.
Jeanne Jugan carried through her selfless and joyful service, exercised with gentleness and humility of heart.
In 2009, Jeanne Jugan was canonized as a saint by Pope Benedict XVI.
It was God's way of bringing her out of the darkness into the light. Even though Jeanne Jugan was our foundress of the congregation, she never attributed the work as her own. She always said, "This is God's work, not mine."
Her inspirational story remains the focus behind their work.
There is always an appeal to what we would prefer. And it isn't just for the sake of asking. They actually do follow what we would prefer because they know we are here to be kept happy until we die. And I keep that in my mind too.
We accompany them from the moment they come into the home until the moment when God calls them home to himself. And they say, gee, at that moment I don't have to be afraid, because there will be a little sister who will be holding my hand and helping me pass from this life to the next.